Okay, I am really excited for this one. I love mid-century anything. Can you tell? And while I think the silver and wood styling of high-end vintage Sansui and Pioneer and Marantz equipment is an artistic masterpiece of industrial design, there is nothing more iconic and recognizable than Panasonic's mod line of portables from the 1970s, and I managed to get my hands on a pair of them. You've no doubt seen the Panapet and the Toot-a-loop, definitely the Dynamite. But the line went beyond just those three. There was a fourth. In fact, there were many. But if those three were Slayer, Metallica, and Megadeth, this would be Anthrax, the Panasonic Take and Tape. Together, the four are the cornerstones for most people who collect this kind of stuff. And these two work. They didn't when I got them. This is the Panasonic RQ711S. And this is the RQ304S. Gorgeous, aren't they? Now I need to point out that these are not perfect. There are scuffs on the plastic and they have yellowed a little bit over the years. Could definitely use some retrobrighting too and a good polishing. But that's really the only problem, at least with respect to the outside. They could also use new belts, but those are on back order for the moment and I won't have them for a couple of weeks probably. But I didn't want to wait that long to film this. Oops. Let's take a closer look though. We'll do the white one first. This is the Panasonic RQ304S. The black handle on top is integrated into the plastic shell. Below it are all your standard transport controls. Reading right to left, you have record, stop, play, rewind, fast forward, and of course, eject. These do exactly what you would expect, but the way they work is kind of interesting, which I'll show you once we get it open. To play a tape, you place it in upside down into the mechanism itself, close the door, then press play. Like most players, there's no power switch. Aside from the tape transport, you have a built-in speaker on the back, a built-in microphone on the front, a volume control, a DC input barrel plug, a mic input, and you guessed it, a headphone jack, because there's always a headphone jack. All right, now as far as functionality goes, this is essentially the same as this. It's basically a portable tape recorder, and though I haven't tried it for these things myself, presumably you could use it for anything you would use this for, like secretly recording concerts and selling bootlegs, recording confessions from suspects, saving Atari Basic programs to cassette, or dictating notes to your partner back at FBI headquarters. Or like, actually recording music, though the quality would suffer a little bit. You're probably not making mixtapes with these unless you're doing like my dad used to do in college, where he'd hold the mic up to the radio speaker and record a song he wanted. I have to say, as much as I love all this analog tech, I greatly appreciate things like Spotify. This white one only runs on 4 C-cell batteries or a DC 6-volt input, which I don't have an adapter for right now. Okay, I do have an adapter, but for some reason, every DC power adapter I could find in every store in the Coachella Valley, as of today filming this, only sells DC adapters that are center positive. This machine is center negative, which doesn't work. Of course, I tried it anyway out of a sense of morbid curiosity. I used a sacrificial Linda Ronstadt tape that was already pretty beat up. Sorry, Linda. As expected, the machine just ran backwards and made a huge mess of the tape. Fortunately, I have a very expensive precision tool to fix that. So that whole deal leads me to this blue one, the Panasonic RQ711S. This is the most iconic one. Most of the advertising literature that I saw from this time period shows this specific model. It's basically the exact same thing as the other one with a few cosmetic differences and one very critical power difference. Unlike the 304, this one runs on mains AC power instead of DC. Okay, that's not technically true. The internals are still DC, but Panasonic managed to put an AC-DC converter in here. I was thunderstruck when I figured that out. It shook me all night long when I found out. Highway to Hell. I don't know how to work that one into a sentence. Crucially, I can plug this machine into the mains directly and it will work without a wall wart, which is always missing when you buy old stuff like this. Both of these look a little different on the outside, but the internal mechanisms are more or less identical. Since there's nobody here to give me the light, I'm going to fill for time and just point out the differences. Just imagine it's one of those spot the differences games that you can cheat by crossing your eyes. Going down the list, you have the buttons on the top, the handles, the speaker grills, the mic and headphone jack panel, this fun texture here, the microphone grill, the profile of the case itself, the position of the Panasonic badge, the power input, this slot for the pinch roller, and the shape of the hole for the adjustment of the azimuth of the tape head, the screw holes on the top, And I'm going to count the fact that one of them has a decal for the model number and the other has it molded into the plastic. Also in a strange decision, the batteries go in differently on both of them. They all face the same direction on this one and they're flipped on the other one. So that's the look, the style, the modness. I'm not going to play both of them because they're exactly the same, but let's take a listen to that built-in microphone by recording this next bit with the tape recorder itself instead of my good shotgun mic. I want to go ahead and open one of these up. I'll do this one here since the other one is recording sound at the moment. I figured we should take a look at the internals because I thought the belt mechanism was interesting. It's cheap, but it's clever. I'll show you what I mean. The shell comes apart with just a couple screws. Once you're inside, the tape mechanism is really simple. But here's what I found interesting about it. Most belts are really thin. They're mostly square or they're flat. These are thicker and round. That's on purpose, and it's the reason I shouldn't just swap the belts out with one of these bulk ones. The outside of the thick belt actually engages with this plastic pulley to run the rewind function. It just uses friction, which is why even a slightly loose belt will render these things half inoperable and why WD-40 is an absolute no-no. I have gotten away with a drop or two in certain circumstances, but here, absolutely not. Any amount of oil will make the belt slip and nothing will move. Also, even though I said I shouldn't use the square belts, I did it anyway. And it worked. So for now, it's going to have to do because I'd rather they sound slightly warbly than not be able to rewind or fast forward. As I said earlier, I'm waiting on new belts for these, which are on back order. Hopefully, they'll be here soon. When they get here and I get them installed, I'd like to do a follow-up video showing these alongside the Panapet, Dynamite, and Toot-a-loop. That video is in the works and we'll have a special celebrity guest, so subscribe and leave a like if you want to see that. I get to go on location for that one. Kind of. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. I have an alligator problem, I think. It's been a long week. But if you're in the area, I'm at the Palm Springs Vintage Market the first Sunday of every month, so come and say hi. And I promised I would dedicate this video to my friend Corey's cat, Arthas. Long live the king, long may he reign. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay metal.